Welcome in to another episode of 4th and 5 presented by Ortho Arkansas. And man, a highly anticipated episode here of trying to figure out what in the hell was happening up front on the offensive line, giving up. Almost lost count of how many sacks they gave up against Ole Miss. But as much as I tried to break it down, Grant, I was looking at stuff and I just wasn't exactly sure what I was looking at on tape. That's why we got you here to break it down for us. Grant Cook here. And before we kind of get started, Grant, since you're the favorite child of our sponsor, look at this. Hold on. Let's go.
Hey.
Finally got my hat in the mail. Let's go. DDK, we want to give a special thanks to our sponsor. Once again, I know people who hate ads. Well, if you like this content, well, you better like DDK because they're the reason, along with our other sponsors, why y'all get to continue to watch all this for free. Our goal here, Grant, we don't want our subscribers and people who watch this to pay for anything, not one dime. We don't want nothing from you but for you to just sit here, watch, and enjoy this channel and hit that subscribe button. But Mark Knight and Ray Galloway, I want to appreciate both of y'all over that DDK for finally getting me my hat. But when it came to the properties we kind of want to share with our viewers, Grant, I feel like this one's a little bit more your ballpark.
These two I want to talk about today are near and dear to me because I'm a hunter. I love it. I love to get out in the woods in the fall and the wintertime. And so this one is Belco Lake Hunting Club. All right. And this is about 3 miles outside of Watson, Arkansas, 380 plus acres.
There we go.
Yeah, we're talking about some prime stuff here. 255 of which is CRPs, listed at $1.6 million. But for the hunters out there, it is we're talking big bucks. We're talking turkeys all over the place. And the thing that people love about Arkansas, which is duck hunting, something that I love to do in the wintertime as well. This place is positioned perfectly in the Mississippi and Arkansas River and the Mississippi Flyway coming right down. All those ducks that are going to be making their way down here in the next month or so. You've got opportunities. You're surrounded by agricultural fields. So those ducks are going to go out into the fields. They're going to feed. They're coming back into the woods to roost, and you guys are going to be there waiting for them. So, you know, I was going to tell Mark, DJ, Mark and Ray, I can't do this property justice if I don't get an opportunity to go check it out myself. So maybe we'll have to work something else out. I don't know.
I think that makes sense. That's fair.
I got to lay eyes on, man. I got to lay eyes on. I got to get out there and get a feel for the land so I can really help these guys sell this property. But
you know, Grant, I've never been hunting. If Mark and Ray say it's cool and they reach out to the property owner, I'll go out there with you. All right, I'll go out there with you.
I think you
should.
I think that may be another episode outside of football. DJ goes hunting. We could we start a whole new channel with that. So
yeah.
So that's one of the properties. The second property we got is Two Prairie Bayou, and so that is another great property, Lonoke County, Arkansas. So still on that east side of the state. We're talking prime deer hunting again. 246 acres. And what we're calling a hunting paradise. So this is for serious hunters, guys that like to kill big bucks. They like to kill turkeys, and they like to come out there in the wintertime and hunt ducks as well. A lot of opportunity here for the pre-work that's already been done with this property. So they've got 2 boat lanes, so you can flood part of this timber. You can flood part of the fields. They've got 82 acres on the east side that can be flooded, 44 on the southwest quadrant that can be flooded. And then there's a new 33-acre flooded area that you can bring in. Boat lanes go straight to it. New steel bridges installed. So this property is ready. It's turnkey. It's ready for you to show up. And we're going to drop, I think, DJ, both the links to these properties in our bio of this thing. So if you guys are interested or just want to take a look, give them a holler, talk about it. But for anybody that's outdoor enthusiast, wants to get out there, hunt, do something, give them a shout on these. These are, I've looked through the pictures. These are prime. These are some prime properties. So go take a look.
I can tell you're pumped up about these because we try to keep our ads to about 60 to 90 seconds. But boy, Grant, I feel like you really want to go out there and check these properties
I
out. All
do,
right,
man. I love hunting, though. I love hunting as much as I love
get it.
football. So,
I
I
get
mean,
it,
like,
man.
if I had a podcast, it's about football or it's about hunting. That's all I do.
That's it,
so,
man. All right.
Yeah.
That's fun. Thanks again to DDK for making that happen. All right. Let's get out of those woods and let's get into the woods when it comes to breaking down this tape over here with our Arkansas offensive line. And Grant, man, it was a mess. And our guys saw what it's like to, if they want to be an elite program and they want to be up there with the best of the best, Ole Miss gave them a, hey, welcome to the show moment come Saturday.
Yeah, I think so. The comments by Coach Pittman prior to the game, the blue light special versus, the Louis Vuitton, I think is what he said. Purchase players, essentially, the NIL and all that. And, I think there's some truth in that in the sense of Ole Miss has got NIL figured out. And they've gone out there and able to make some really big moves in the offseason. And it showed up. I mean, every guy that came in there for that defensive line was the dude at his previous school. Now they've, it's like Captain Planet, right? With our powers combined. And
great cartoon.
It just felt like the 8 to 9 guys that they were just rotating in. Everybody was fresh and everybody was that top tier SEC talent. And when you're playing against a defensive line, I've played against a few of them. I mean, Alabama back in the day and Georgia back in the day. I mean, they've got those guys, and they're difficult to block. But our job is to do it. And I think Saturday it didn't happen, right? I mean, and we're here to talk about offensive line. I think it's true kind of all over the field. Ole Miss came with this swagger and this intensity that they were like, come mess with us. Just come on. Like, they're up in our face, and I mean, what are you going to do about it, right? And they felt like they were the big bully trying to steal their lunch money at school, and they did.
Yeah. So Grant, that brings me. We did play against those type of D lines all the time, and that's prime Bama, prime Auburn.
Yep.
I mean, it was tough week in and week out. The thing is, and they were bullies, but we had guys on our offensive line who just, how do I say this? They weren't going to take shit from anybody. And and as much as people see Grant Cook all burly and smiling and thinks he's such a nice guy and he really doesn't like to cross the lines, you put him on that football field, it's a different dude. He's ready to go whoop somebody's what. And that was kind of the tone for all of our defensive linemen. I mean, D-Love, Wade Grayson, just some dirty players, but they're playing the game the right way, but they weren't going to take it from anybody. It was just like, okay, let's strap up and let's go ahead and play this game. Now, we respected those other guys, and we knew that what was going to happen, but we weren't going to get punked by anybody. We wouldn't even get punked by ourselves. I mean, I can remember times that you and D-Love are fighting people at practice. I remember when y'all jumped Jake Beckett. Yeah, I remember that, and everybody gets into it. It's just like there was a tone that was necessary to compete in games like that, and this was the first time all year, Grant, I felt like our guys got challenged and no one really pushed back. It kind of seemed intimidated.
Yeah, and I think you took the thought right out of my head of it's competitive, right? It's competition, and it's not that me and D-Love hated Jake Beckett or we just wanted a fight or whatever it was. It was when the flip of the switch happens, the competitor just comes out, and what will be, right? I mean, and at the end of the day, that's kind of where we were with that. And same against all those really, really great players, respect to them, but also like I'm not here to get punked, right? Like I will fight you. I don't care. And that's just the mentality we all had. I mean, and you have to have that intensity and that, borderline toughness inside the whistles, right? I mean, I'm not advocating for these guys to snap the ball, just jump up and punch somebody in the face. Like that's not what I'm talking about. But you've got to have the willingness to step up and fight, right? I mean, and not back down from someone when they're in your face. And I mean, I think that's kind of the precipice of this whole game. Ole Miss came ready for a bar fight, and we were hiding under the bar stool. And so,
I'm almost tempted not even to watch tape. I mean, I could sit here and do this talk all night long. because it's truth, and sometimes conversations like this almost matter more than going back and watching the tape. Because to be honest, I think you and I both agree they can sit down and try to break this down as much as they want, but the tape ain't the problem. It was just the mindset and the mentality. But we are a breakdown show, and people love the breakdowns here. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so we'll go one of the first few plays of the game, 14 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first. And it's a little dive play here. And it's something that really has been successful for us. And the previous week against Mississippi State, you saw us run up and down the field, right?
Yep.
But when I see here is really there's a lot of penetration from the defense. And regardless of what play you're trying to run, if there's penetration, the timing of everything gets thrown off. The back has to make a cut early in the backfield. He's trying to find a place to fit into the line and maybe make some yards here. And we'll just start really with the left side of the line. So Carmona comes down. He's going backside linebacker. It looks like it's maybe a little trap play here. And everything is really stalemated. And they run a blitz as well, which, I mean, we run right into the teeth of it. And can't get underneath it. And really, I think that's because of the penetration. We have to slow everything down in the backfield and allows the blitz to get there. But, like you just said, I mean, there's kind of so much that went wrong here. You can't just point out one thing. I mean, I think the biggest piece of it is there's no movement. Everything's happening on our side of the line of scrimmage. And when that happens, there's not a chance for success. I mean, there's just not an opportunity for a positive play when the black line that you see on this screen, when everything's happening behind it. I mean, I'm looking at Addison Nichols here, and he's 2 yards off the ball. Marion Harris is 2 yards off the ball. Josh Braun's trying to work his way up. He's right at the line of scrimmage as the ball is getting handed off, and everything just collapses down.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to sit here and say, well, if they use this technique or if they use this or that, I don't know that it's technique. I think it's just the toughness of going out there and getting the block accomplished.
How do you combat that? Because, I mean, we could literally pick out 18 plays right now of penetration. And I know it's just because those guys are just that much better. What is if that's you and you got a dude in front of you who's bigger, stronger, explosive as hell, what's your mindset to make sure that he doesn't push you 2 yards in the backfield? Is there anything physically or technique-wise that you can do to help yourself out?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think what you got to do is you got to be in communication with the coaching staff and let them know, hey, I got a dude over the top of me, right? I remember Marcel Darius, and I'm just going to say the quote. So it's 2010. Everybody probably watching this, and unless you're really young, you remember the 2010 game against Alabama. We were 10, they were number 1. It was a great environment. First few plays of the game, I remember where I'm in pass pro, and keep in mind, I'm 320-pound dude, been lifting weights for 4 years. I mean, I'm not a little guy. Marcel Darius fires off the ball, puts both his hands in my shoulder pads, in my chest plate, and picks my feet off the ground. And I remember, feeling weightless, and then he set me back down 2 yards deep, and he didn't make the play, but I'm thinking oh no. And he just looked at me and said, it's going to be a long day for you, white boy. And I was like, yeah, he's right. He's right. And I went straight to the sideline, and I said, hey man, I'm going to have some help today over here. Right? We got to
keep it real, huh?
Yeah, we got to run some slide pros. We got to get something over here. Cause today may just not be my day. And, but I say that jokingly, but I think every player has kind of had that moment of that in their life. And so you've got to be honest with yourself, right? If you can't get it done on one-on-one type stuff, hey, we've got to figure out a different scheme here that allows us to double team some people, that allows us to get into slide protections. And, I think the big part here is that they've got 4 or 5 guys on the defensive line that you're singling somebody out, right? And that's kudos to them for going in the portal and going and getting 8 dudes that can play, because everybody's got everyone's going to be on a single block at some point. But to your point, I think you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble technique and assignment wise when you're trying to throw yourself at somebody with all you've got, because now they can quick swim that and you're on your face, and now they're making an even bigger play than what they would have if you would have just followed your technique. So I think that's probably something that the players have to talk to the coaches about, and the coaches have to start to understand. And we'll get to a clip here a little bit later on the goal line where I think they're trying to do that, but you're leaving that one guy stranded, and he doesn't make the play from the offensive line perspective to make it successful. And so we'll skip ahead, and I'm going to jump to that play actually. So, all right, this is the first down play right after we stop them on fourth down, right? So big, huge play. 0-0. They look like they're about to go score. We stuff them on fourth down, get the ball on the 1 yard line. And I think you line up an I formation, just about everybody knows what's coming, right? We're going to try to get off of the 1 yard line, give ourselves a little breathing room, kind of classic football move here. And what you see is we try to get some double teams. So if you go to the right side, start with the Marion Harris and Josh Braun, we end up getting a little bit stalemated here again on a double team. So the guy comes off, fires his hands into Marion, so Josh really can't help him much. He's trying to get up to his assignment, which is the linebacker. And same thing with Addison Nichols and I believe it's Kutas in here. Another stalemate. We're playing on the line of scrimmage. They're doing what they're coached to do on the defensive side of the ball. And who does that leave on the backside? Carmona. We gave Carmona a lot of credit this year, and he's taken a good step, but everybody in here is pinching down, and the guy beats Carmona across the face, and we're very lucky that it wasn't a safety, and Braylon Russell falls forward. We lose a little bit of yardage on a 1 yard line play, but DJ, I mean, like I said, I mean, we can go as long as we want to go here and talk about it. It just wasn't a good game. I mean, I think we were outmatched up front, and you saw it. I mean, it came to fruition Saturday.
Let me ask you this: if you go back to that play and you almost pause it at the point of contact, what I'm seeing, Grant, is amazing pad level by Ole Miss's defensive line. Every single one of them's hats underneath ours. They have the leverage game. I mean, is that just surely when you're playing against guys like that, we all know you got to keep pad level is everything. If they get underneath your pads, game is over. Yeah. Is that something that they could help themselves with, or
I mean, maybe, but I'll tell you, like, if you go right after the snap of the ball and you look at Marion Harris's pad level, he matches the pad level.
Yeah.
I mean, he's matching the pad level here, and I don't hate Addison Nichols' pad level. He's actually comes off shoulder to shoulder here. It's just, I mean, they get that extension, right? I mean, look at number 15, the left defensive end. Watch what he fires off, both hands, and boom. He gets full body extension. He's using his entire body to stalemate that, which is exactly what the defensive line wants to do. They want to stalemate that, and he's creating a hole. Now, Josh Braun can't, and you look at the linebackers, as soon as the ball snapped, they're headed straight downhill.
Yeah.
And so now they're just creating a mass of bodies. There's nowhere to go with that ball. I mean, there's absolutely nowhere to go with that ball. Now, the one thing, if you want to get into scheme and you want to start talking about this, it's a dangerous play, an extremely dangerous play on the goal line. But if this is a naked right here, so when I say a naked, I'm talking about a bootleg.
Yep.
I mean, Taylor may still be running.
Yeah. That is dangerous.
That's
gutsy.
May be Forrest Gumping it right now. It's very dangerous because you're getting super deep into that end zone, and if they send somebody off the edge. But, I mean, truthfully, DJ, I really don't know that the pad level deal here is going to kill you. I'd say a cut block on the backside, but on inside zone, you never want to cut because now you're taking the cutback opportunity away. Not that we'd be looking at it on the 1 yard line anyways, but Yeah, I mean, they just had some dudes.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just do one more play because I know, like I said, this is pretty much rinse and repeat for every single play for the better part of that game. I think those right there, Grant, that's that Louis Vuitton that Coach Pittman was talking about. It is what it is, but but then if you go ahead to the third down, the fumble in the end zone, this one I don't put to talent. I feel like this one is inexcusable when it comes to who you need to block.
Yep. No, I agree. We had a little pre talk about this one the other day, and so here's I don't even know what to say, to be honest with you. I mean, you got a slide pro to the right. You can look at the center, and he automatically kicks his head out to the right as soon as he snaps the ball. So you know he's taking that over. And Marion Harris was stuck making a decision. And you can see him set out to the linebacker that's coming around. I think that may be Pupal. No, it's not.
That's number 6. Field, but, yeah, number 6.
So he sets out to him, and then it's almost like he's like, oh, I don't know. And he comes back in, and then by the time he tries to get back out there, like we've talked about for how many ever weeks we've done this podcast where we've been breaking down offensive line play, if you don't know where the defense is going before the ball is snapped, you don't have a chance to block them. And this is probably the poster board of exactly what's going on here. So he sees that motion, and then he tries to get out there late and doesn't make it. I want to point one more thing out, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago, where I want to see the offensive line play nastier, right? I want to see them come in and try to really mess people up. And you see Carmona attempt that. He takes a good set, the guy bails, he comes back inside. What do I always say? Something goes away, something's coming to you.
Yes,
you know the drill by now. He comes in and really does try to put a good hit on this guy, but once again, there's so much penetration there that he can't. He hits him in the side, and he's pretty much hitting him and Kudus because there's already so much penetration coming. I don't know if the guy that's blitzing doesn't make the sack. It looks like there's another opportunity for this guy to make one, and so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to beat a dead horse, guys. I mean, everybody watched the game. We saw that it's not a product that you would want to put on the field as a player, as a coaching staff, as fans watching it of the Razorback Nation. You don't want to see a product like that put on the field. And I think the one thing you got to do is point out a couple of the plays where it comes down to just pride in being out there as a man against another man, and coach that up and say, look, we're not going to go through every one of this. Everybody knows what's going on, but we got to take pride in coming out there and playing the right way, and hopefully bounce back next week, obviously bye week this week, and bounce back next week with another chance to play a top 5 team in Texas, who is also really good. But go put a product on the field that you can be proud of.
Yeah, I say that great. That drive we just kind of talked about, the first, we didn't do second down, but then that third down play, those 3 plays in a row, for me, I saw everything I needed to know that Arkansas wasn't going to win that game, just in those 3 plays. Because when a team is that dominant up front, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. And we already knew what they had on the offensive side of the ball. Grant, we'll wrap it up with that. Appreciate you always for your time. We got bye week coming up, and so I will task you with this. I mean, I want to make sure that our viewers kind of get a glimpse. I mean, we're former players, and so I really think we have somewhat of an insight of letting you know how to prep for each and every week. But we're not going to just harp on, we're former players. We only the people who can talk about football because we played. We don't believe that. But we can show you what it's like as far as prep. So you, me, Josh, Matt, after we do all of our breakdowns and watch all this tape, we're moving on to prepping for the next team. And bye week, we got to get to Texas. And you, me, I mean, we all know anything can happen. I know a lot of fans right now like, hell no, we finna get drugged by. Before that Ole Miss game, a lot of people believe we could beat Texas. And I believe we could make Texas competitive. I don't know about win the game. So we're going to do our part. So O-line breakdown next week for the Texas Longhorns. You cool with that?
Yeah, man. We'll dive in and go through kind of what we would have done back in the day on preparing for an opponent.
Yeah, and we're going to find our weak link. They ain't got too many of them over there. You talk about NIL. Texas got a big NIL fund. They be paying some people, but we're going to try our best, man. Hey, Grant, appreciate it. I'll reach out to Mark and Ray, see if we can get out there on that land and do a little bit of hunting.
Let's do it, man. I'm in.
All right, man. I'll see you next week.